So Mel, thanks so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, really
nice to meet you.
appreciate your time.
No problems at all.
Just to kick this off, I mean, can you just explain to me one of the most transformative experiences that you think you've ever gone through in business?
Yeah, I think it's when you really start your own business. Really, I suppose you get when you're back in the day and you're working for a corporate or working for someone else's business, and you're doing well and things are going in the right direction, and you make this sudden decision to let go of a guaranteed income and revenue stream and really go out there and do something with your brother, as it turns out, with me, and go for it is pretty transformative, really.
Yeah, and how did you make that decision yourself?
We were overseas at the time, so I was working for a New Zealand public company, and it was all going well. I was about 25 maybe, and my brother was on his OE, and we were overseas having a holiday, and we sort of collectively came up with this idea to run second backpacker rentals, basically second-hand cars in Auckland.
Cool, yeah. And Oompher is a website. It's all about inspiring people to achieve extraordinary things. So who and what during your life and career has inspired you?
I think if I just look within my family, my father's been a big inspiration to both myself and my brother as well. I mean, he's been in the tourism game for a long time and did very well out of the business that he started back in 1981. So, I think having those sort of people around you to inspire you and from a mental perspective is really, really important. Yeah. I also love other people's stories, so I'm constantly listening to other people's stories, whether it's in business or in sports or reading autobiographies, and those sort of things are really inspiring as well. So it's one of the reasons why I'm very keen to, I suppose, tell our story to a certain degree, because I think if it means anyone else gets out there and says, you know what, I might give it a go, then I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, and in business yourself, have you had some mentors and so on along the way?
I think being in business with my brother has been really great, even though he's younger than me. You can sort of you learn off each other as well. We've got very different skill sets, which has been great. Obviously, my father, as I mentioned, we've always had independent directors on our board, and that's always been people who have been able to inspire as well. So. And I have a lot of friends who have their own businesses, so you kind of collectively get together, and even though you've got different industries, you've all got the same issues. So, I have a lot of people that are around me that inspire and that are able to mentor me on the way through.
Yeah, nice, and it's an awesome story. I mean, Jucy Rentals today, obviously founded in 2001 with you and your brother Dan, today one of the fastest growing sort of tourism companies in New Zealand and Australasia. It's an awesome story. So, I guess just looking back, when you say it all began obviously when you were away with your brother and you made the decision to go into business, I mean, those early days must have been a pretty big move, sort of actually going out and doing it and buying those first cars and everything like that.
It was a big move. It was a daunting experience. It's kind of hard to remember, even though it wasn't that long ago. It's kind of hard to remember. I do remember at times, I remember having to get my brother to call the office on his cell phone to make sure the phone's working, because no one was turning up, right? No one was turning up, no one was renting anything. So it was very slow in the early days, so pretty stressful. So, and to see where it's come from back in 35 little Daewoo cars to where we are today is just incredible. It blows you away, and sometimes you don't kind of stop and smell the roses at times. When you do, you kind of sit there and think, this is awesome.
Yeah, and launching with 35 cars back in 2001 at the Strand in Parnell, I mean, was it hard work getting that initial capital together to start a business?
Yeah, we were lucky that that the old man came to the party and helped us out, and that was really important, and that kind of it was a real test of faith to sort of for Dan and I, but in saying that, it kind of got us in the front door, and these were very cheap cars, they weren't expensive cars, but it definitely got us going, and that was great. And then we've been able to sort of persuade banks along the way and others to help us to believe in the dream, to believe in the goal that we have, and we've been able to grow the business on the back of a very strong strategic plan and also on profitable returns. And I think we didn't have the luxury of a lot of brand focused businesses of running at big losses to grow revenue and to grow quickly. We had to be profitable to be able to put on more fleet.
Yeah, and just talking about that growth, I mean, when you look back at it and see it today, do you put it down to mainly sort of effective marketing, positioning, timing, or desire, or a bit of all, I guess?
I think it's a combination of everything. We live by 4 values at our business, which is fun, family, pride, and passion. And I think the last one, passion, is something that you just can't. It gets thrown around a bit, but you can't take it away from. That's why a lot of businesses, I believe, really succeed. And I think it wasn't as if we entered a market that wasn't saturated. It was very saturated. There was a lot of car rental operators, but I think we were able to use technology, use the fact that we were young, and that we had youth on the side, and we grew up in next generation marketing and social media, and use those sort of advantages to kind of to stand out from the crowd, and then by growing a brand and building a brand, we've been able to cross that over to different sectors of the market.
And that brand, I mean, it's pretty extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, I think it's one of those, there's few of them, but one of those Kiwi brands that Kiwis really resonate and feel strongly about. So in terms of growing that brand, what would you say to business owners out there, if you had a few words of advice to them about growing an effective and strong brand, what would you say to them?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'd love to tell you that it was incredibly well planned out in terms of our brand, but it kind of just, after we rebranded to Jucy from Easy, we kind of everything just kind of fit really, really well, and it's not just about painting something green or purple, and it's really about the culture and the attitude behind the brand. Attitudes are contagious, and I think that's what people see when they do see this brand Jucy. And it's funny, the amount of people that constantly say to us, "Oh, we love your brand, and I think it's not just not just the colour or the logo or Lucy on the side. It's the attitude, and especially with our staff, and they get it. And you walk into our branches and you get that attitude, and that's very much the brand more than anything else.
So the brand, you reckon, inspires the people, which builds the company, I guess.
Totally agree. I mean, it's funny that people put a lot of emphasis on the customer. You must focus 100% first and foremost on the customer, and at Jucy, we actually believe that you must concentrate first and foremost on your people. Because my philosophy is, if you concentrate on your people and build the strong network of incredible JUCYfiers, then they will in turn look after your customer, and that's kind of the cycle works. Right?
Okay. And what are some of the initiatives that you guys do within your company to grow your people?
Oh, well, we have a role in our company called the Queen of Culture. So that's a culture role, which is all around development, induction, getting the right people on from the start, because it's very hard. I mean, if you have any business or even any school or anything or family, if someone's grumpy or off, it kind of goes through the whole family or the whole business. So to get the right people on at the start is really important. And we have a whole bunch of programs that we work with to further develop people. We want people who started off driving a shuttle bus to be sales manager one day or whatever, and actually bring in the right people and bring them through.
Okay, cool. And I guess obviously there's been a lot of success, but one of the things I'm quite keen to talk about is along the way, what were some of the struggles that you went through and you learned a lot from?
Yeah, I think it's people say you learn more from your losses than you do from your wins, and I think it's actually very, very true. Whilst it might look on the outside sometimes to be all rosy, it definitely hasn't been. We've had our fair share of struggles along the way, and I think the biggest challenge is going from a small business to a large business and understanding that you can't do everything yourself, and you've got to bring on the right people. And we probably brought on a lot of really good people at a certain level, but the gap between Dan and myself, with Dan and I and the rest of the crew was quite big, and we needed to start bringing on really experienced people, and that's probably been a challenge for us to get those right people on board and actually be able to also stand back and let go of some of the stuff, because it wasn't that long ago we were cleaning the car, dispatching the car, picking the people up from the hotel, so it's kind of hard to grow up a little bit, I suppose.
Okay, and I guess how did you manage to do that? What were some of the things? Did you just have to look at it and go, if we're going to grow this, we've got to map out some steps or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think having an external board in place actually helped a lot, because they were there to say, look guys, if you want to be serious, you got to grow up, you got to get these people in. Don't be afraid to pay them what they're worth, and get the right people in to help you grow this business. And I think you've got to start thinking big, and I think a lot of New Zealand businesses probably get through that first 5 years, which is normally struggle street, and they kind of get through it, and then they kind of just take a breath and say, I'm quite relieved really. But for us, we really wanted to grow a global tourism brand. That was what we wanted, and I think we also had aspirations to go outside of New Zealand. So with that being the clear focus, meant that we had to get people on board that were able to help us with that.
Yeah.
So.
And just talking about that external board, I mean, is that something you recommend businesses do when they get to a certain level, is having a board outside as well?
Yeah, look, I do. I mean, especially if you're a family business. So we're a family business, which is still 100% owned by the family, and my brother and I, and our father Chris is also quite heavily involved in it as well. So we're all, being a family business, it's really important to have independent directors. We have our accounts have been audited for the last 8 years. We've had an independent board, so we've really tried to set this business up with the good governance and disciplines in place. Nice, and it keeps you on the straight and narrow, I suppose, and because it is very easy just to go ahead and make decisions, and we're pretty entrepreneurial people, and we just want to go and paint everything green and purple, and the board's quite good because it sits you down and says, are these the important things to be doing?
Yeah. And one thing I want to talk about is obviously diversification. You're talking before about going global and doing a lot. I mean, you guys are doing some amazing things in the world, but also different products in New Zealand. Obviously, Jucy Rentals, but Jucy Cruise, budget accommodation, JUCYfier design, manufacturing, and so on. So, what are the advantages of focusing on lots of things as opposed to just the core product that you started out with?
I don't know if you call it the advantages. Probably the biggest challenge for us in the past has been saying no to stuff. Because opportunities come up and we're like, we could do that, or we could get involved in that. We've got a juicy brand, we could put it into that.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing for us though is really finding stuff that we can connect through, that our customers are actually looking for. So the accommodation's a good option, right? We have a property called Jucy Snooze up in Auckland City here, and we're building one in Christchurch at the airport at the moment. And the idea being that we've got people in these vehicles driving around the country looking for accommodation. So if we can hold on to the customer throughout the journey, it makes sense.
Absolutely.
And the cruise business in the Milford Sound is a perfect example. So I think we're going to be really careful about connecting ourselves with things that don't fit the mould or fit the brand, or that we can't feed as well. So being able to feed it is quite.
Because I guess then you can sell the whole package from accommodation to car to cruise to.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we have learned, and probably you talked about mistakes before, is that we won't get involved in anything that doesn't have our brand or our culture associated with it, because our staff just don't care.
Yeah.
You know, in the past we used to sell a few other products outside of our brand, and our staff just didn't care. If it's not green and purple, doesn't have Lucy on the side, they just don't care. And that's probably it's probably a weakness of ours to a certain degree, because they're so but a positive as well.
Yeah,
they're so juicified, it's juicy there into it.
Yeah, and what diversification excites you the most?
I like the accommodation. We have a bit of an internal discussion here around the boardroom table about that, but I think the ability to do something very, very cool and funky in terms of accommodation is really exciting. In Christchurch, the property Jucy Snooze that we're developing down there with the Christchurch Airport will have capsule accommodation for dorms. So instead of your normal dorm rooms, open dorm bed, we will have similar to Japanese capsule types, your own individual pod unit. So that's innovation that you can bring through, and especially stuff that we've learned from the camper side that we can bring through and put into accommodation. So yeah, pretty excited about accommodation.
Cool, and also obviously expanding into new countries is the other thing. I mean, today we have a presence in obviously New Zealand, Australia, Germany, UK, US, etc. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So what have been some of the challenges of launching into new countries?
Oh, yeah, it's probably one of the biggest challenges across growing this business. Australia is a perfect example. We launched in there in 2008. We put 100 of our little green sleeper vans, and look, it was when we went there, everyone said, "Oh, you must be an Australian company. Don't be seen as a New Zealander. Don't be, you got to employ new Australian people. You got to do all this." And we were a little bit shy, because a lot of New Zealand companies have gone across the Tasman, and it's gone absolutely pear-shaped. Some big companies. So we were pretty gun-shy about it. But I think what you got to realise in Australia is, in any other countries, it's very different to New Zealand. People say it's very different, and so you got to do your homework on it. You got to understand it. But we went in there not as a New Zealand company, we just went in there and set up as a business and a brand. If you got the right business brand, culture, it doesn't matter where you're from in the world. The business can still be a success. And Australia has been there for us, and it's been amazing. Yeah. And it's funny, we know we kind of made it in Australia when we had people from Australia coming to New Zealand to hire our vehicles, saying, "Oh, I didn't know they had Jucy in New Zealand." And we were like, "Oh yeah, that's true." US, on the other hand, is a totally different story.
Yeah.
US,
the scale is huge, isn't it?
The scale is huge, but it's very antiquated in a lot of dealings. Banking took 6 months to get a bank account. We're still signing checks for all of our staff for wages. It took 4 months to get a business license.
Yeah.
So you realise in New Zealand that just setting up and doing business in New Zealand is a lot easier than anywhere else in the world.
Okay, and is the US and those new markets going real well? Especially?
Yeah, I mean, the US is just such a huge opportunity. We've only been really two full seasons in the US. This will be our 3rd full season this year. Okay. It's very different. It's got some challenges. My brother is right now based in the US for the next 3 months, trying to help the business up there. So it's got some challenges, but from an opportunity perspective, if we nail it, it's a bit like Rod Jerry will tell you with Zero, and Ian will tell you with Orion Health. If you nail it and get it, the scale is just massive. So we're really, really excited. The brand's been incredibly well received, and we just think the opportunity is just massive.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I just want to move on to a bit about some entrepreneurial advice. I mean, you're someone who, when you were at school, you obviously left and said you didn't really know what you were going to do, and then obviously you worked in the sort of corporate world for a while, but then went on to build what is quickly becoming a sort of global tourism empire. So, an open question. I mean, what was your advice for starting out entrepreneurs, if you had to summarise a few things?
Yeah, I think I get asked this a little bit from time to time. I think the big advantage from us is get in there early, and when I say utilise the fact that you are young. I mean, I talk to the Young Enterprise Trust students a lot from the Year scheme, and I always kind of say to them, I think universities are a fantastic place, but sometimes they people go in there, they don't know what they want to do, they come out and then they say, you got to get a job, we've got to get something. If you've got a good idea, if you can find people that are going to back you, if you've got a good story, don't be afraid to get into your own business early on. There's great opportunities and experience, but if you get in there early on and use the fact that you've got this next generation marketing that you can tap into to basically grow your business, and use the fact that you're young and technology is such a moving beast to really grow it. So my big advice is that if you've got opportunities, get in there, talk to people like us, like my brother and I, or people. What about New Zealand is you can get touch base with anyone. I don't reckon anyone's off limits basically in New Zealand, and you don't get that anywhere else in the world. Go and talk to people. Go and sit there and talk to Steve and Tyndall about business, and they will sit there because, like me, it's so imperative that we have these young entrepreneurs coming through and driving this economy.
Yeah, no, it's so right. It is. I mean, you're so right about New Zealand in terms of everyone's pretty reachable, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you were talking to a young person who had a business idea, so let's say you had any new business idea, what are some of the things you would always do first before launching it? Are there certain things to test or things to do first? Or?
And we've evolved quite a bit. So when we first started going, there wasn't a lot of market research, business planning, strategic planning that went into anything. And even going into Australia, I think our decision to go into Australia was we thought it was a cool idea, and we found a way of getting Japanese imported vehicles into Australia. And that was kind of the rationale for it. It worked here, why wasn't it going to work over there? Pretty big risk, really, when I think about it now.
Yeah.
When we went into the US 2 years ago, it was a lot more. We did we had a person over there for 3 months. We did a lot more market research. We did a lot more, and that was probably a good thing as well. But I think you got to be really careful you don't lose some of that gut instinct as well. So what I would be saying to people is, you got a really good idea. You got to flush it out. You got to test it. Don't necessarily be totally ruled by the data or by the research that you've done. There's going to be, when we started this business, there was 200 car rental operators in Auckland alone. So it was totally saturated. We didn't know, I don't think, until it was totally saturated. So, but we were able to succeed and grow because you're able to do something different and bring something different to the table. So saturated industries can also be an opportunity as well. But do the market research, talk to as many people as possible, engage the response.
Yeah, sounds good. So I guess immediately what's next? You're looking at just growing the businesses in the other countries or any new countries on the go?
There's always plenty of, I think the thing this year is around a little bit about saying no to stuff, because there's always, the funnel's very big, right? Yeah. And the bigger you get, there's always more opportunities to do stuff. And so for us, it's around about making sure we don't just bite off more than we can chew. We focus on the core businesses, but we also have a real opportunity to look at new areas of expansion. I mentioned before the accommodation, that's really exciting. Our Milford Sound cruise business has just been a great option for us to get into the activities side. We'd love to see that grow. The US and Australia are still, they're still emerging markets for us, and we've still got a lot of work to do to really get those to where we want them to be. And then we've got obviously opportunities up in the UK, and so
it's a huge market.
So there's no lack of opportunities. There's no lack of things. It's just really for us, it's focusing on the core ones and make sure we can take those off right.
Cool. And what would the 16-year-old boy you were think of the man you've become today?
I think you should see me at 16. No, I don't know. I think I think you got to. I think I'd hope he'd be very proud and happy. I just adore what I do. It's funny. It's just people say it's never been work. I know it's a real cliche. I don't think it's work. It's just not work. How could this be work?
Yeah, exactly.
I actually think of myself as unemployable now. I just don't think I could work for anyone else. I don't think my brother could either. So, the fact that we get to experience the world, travel the world, do these things, have these incredible people around us that share in this passion. It's just, mate, how lucky is that?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you could give that 16-year-old a bit of advice today, is there anything you would say to him from your learnings today?
Yeah, come and talk to me. Yeah, come and talk to everyone. Just don't be afraid to get out there and do things and take risks, take chances, and don't just listen to everyone telling you that you got to go to university, you got to get a job. Some people it's just not right for. Some people they're better off to get out there and do something else. And I think it's horses for courses, and the world is so open now you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Absolutely cool. So just to finish off, I mean, Tim, look, you're an absolute legend, and what you've created here is pretty extraordinary, and it's cool to be sitting here today in the Jucy caravan.
Oh, the meeting room?
Yeah, it's very cool. So I guess as the founder of Jucy and obviously Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 2010, can you look down this camera here and tell us, what are your wise words for the people of New Zealand?
I just think New Zealand needs entrepreneurs, and New Zealand needs people who are getting out there. And I think with what Dan and I have done is just a small example of what you can do if you've got a passion to grow a business, and grow a business not just locally but also internationally. So yeah, go for it.
Cool. Tim, thanks so much.
No worries.
Cheers.
Cheers.